What's up, YouTube? What's up, everybody? Come on in. I know this is kind of last moment, and I just kind of hopped on here. So hopefully, YouTube is doing the right thing and sending out notifications. If you are just now joining in, please like, share, and subscribe. We'll start the show when we get to at least 100 viewers. Happy Monday, y'all. What's up? Monday Madness. That's what it is. It's absolutely Monday Madness. So, as you guys can see on the screen, we have a very trending topic. We know lately there has been a lot of online discussion about this whole trans woman versus real women thing. And um, somebody that subscribes to my channel, and OG Patrice, one of my supporters, she sent me a text. She said, "Sis, you know what? I think you should host a panel, trans women versus real women." And I was like, you know what? I think that we should. And we should have an open discussion, right? And to set the tone properly, we're going to do it respectfully, because what we want to do is come for a solution. Because, you know, y'all all know my story. Everybody know about, my baby. They know about Jay or whatever. So people kind of want to hear, my perspective and the way that I see things. And I honestly feel like, there is room, obviously, for both. I don't understand the issue of why trans women have to now be real women, or take over this space of women. And now, because they want to be recognized as women and we have to be recognized as cis women, why does my name have to change because you now want to be included in this space? And I mean, at the end of the day, respectfully, at the end of the day, respectfully, okay, the bottom line is this. You know, there is a difference between a man and a woman, and there's a difference between a trans woman and a woman. If you are a woman, then you don't have to have any type of operation to be a woman. And we're going to discuss several things tonight. We're going to discuss this notion that gender and sexuality are not the same thing. That is a very, very hot topic. So you guys need to put your thinking caps on, because this whole thing and why they are basically able to say, yes, we are women, yes, you need to recognize us as women, is because gender and sexuality is not the same thing. That's what they tell us. That's going to be open for debate. So, mods, y'all remember that gender versus sexuality. Make sure y'all put that in the comments to remind us to have that conversation, because this can get ready to get really, really deep. And I want to see who is out there that wants to be a part of the conversation respectfully. And I want to hear from men. I want to hear from women. I want to hear from trans women. Because, I mean, I think, oh man, it's so much that we're going to be able to discuss tonight. Because again, my thing it is it is it deceptive to men? So I know that there are some transgenders out there that are open and honest about their transition and don't try to lie and don't try to hide. You got like Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn for one. You have My Child for two. You have T.S. Madison, somebody that we're going to be discussing tonight for three, who I can say for a fact has never hid the fact that, about their transition. So you have some that are open and honest. You got a Maya Scott. You got a lot of them that are open and honest about their transition. And then there are some that aren't open and honest about it. And there's a lot on the table that we got to discuss here, because remember, this is whole movement about trans lives matter, and Remember, I went on Dr. Phil and they trying to tell me about the black trans women being murdered. And I'm like, what about black men? And you remember that big debate that we had? Because I'm like, hold on, wait a minute now. And why is that happening? And then the government, that's another part of the conversation. Like, if this is everybody is about being who you are and being open and honest, I don't agree. And it's open for discussion here too. Mods, write this one down about them making it legal for them to change the sex on their IDs and birth certificates. If we're not hiding nothing, why? Because see, birth certificates and the paper trail is very important because this is how we're able to go back and track um, where and who we came from. You know, those birth records and those death certificates, that's down there on file at the county. You can go, that's the real paperwork, that's the real paper trail. Digitally, they'll be able to tell you anything. Like, they'll be able to completely erase your history. So you're telling me that 10, 15 years, no, let's go a little further than that. 70, 75 years from now, somebody trying to research their history, and it's basically going to be a falsified document. And I'm like, dang, I know they sent me to prison 19 years ago, really longer than that, about 20 years ago, for falsifying a government document. And now you can just do it because you feel like it. What if a child is trying to search their history? This is wild, yo. Conversation tonight is going to be trans women versus real women. Comments made by Jess, hilarious. Comments made by T.S. Madison. T.S. Madison really got people going because T.S. Madison is like, hey, there are some women out there that get mistaken for transgender. Excuse me. I'm like, hold up. If a woman is getting mistaken for a transgender, it's because there's so many men out here pretending to be women. Like, really, at the end of the day, these people don't even really know the difference no more. Everything fake and look the same. Everything fake and look the same. Y'all get y'all questions ready. We getting ready to take off in about 5 minutes. I'm finna go switch computers. Y'all hold on 1 second. And we getting ready to go. Let me go ahead and drop the link so some of y'all can hop on in the back studio. Where y'all at? I don't see nobody in the back studio. Open panel, trans women versus real women. Come on, let's go. I'm gonna drop the link one more time. I'm switching to another computer. Get your questions ready. Y'all need to like, share. Y'all need to subscribe. Let's go. Okay. We back, y'all. Let's go. I see y'all in the back. I see Demario. I see Iron. I see Jasmine. I see Kenneth. I'm getting ready to bring them up. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I see Demario. I see Iron. I see Jasmine. I see Kenneth. Go ahead and mute the mics. I want to share with everybody what's going on in case they didn't hear what happened. I want y'all to hear there's a particular TikToker that made this comment about basically ministrations not belonging to real women. I'm gonna just share this with y'all for a minute. Here we go. Let me just share this with y'all. Okay. Let me close that. We're gonna go here. I want you to hear this first.
When the transphobia just comes out, the audacity and just the arrogance for cis women to believe that they own periods, that they own womanhood. You don't. Okay, you don't own periods, you don't own womanhood. You experience both, and both are different for every person. But as a cis woman, it doesn't belong to you, so you can't gatekeep it. Like, hello. This is what I mean when the transphobia just comes out, the audacity and just the arrogance for cis women to believe that they own periods, that they own womanhood. You don't. Okay, you don't own periods, you don't own womanhood. You experience both, and both are different for every person. But as a cis woman, it doesn't belong to you, so you can't gatekeep it. Like, hello.
See, the first problem I have with this whole scenario is, first of all, you referring to me as a cis woman. That's for me, that's the biggest problem. Outside of everything else that you said, like it's like all of a sudden we have to become cis women because they want to be included in this space. So here's is a trans woman telling us that we don't own periods, they don't belong to us, which is absolutely insane. We'll get into that conversation in a little bit. But Jess, hilarious, the comedian, she responded. This is what she had to say, and then I'm going to open up the
for
panel.
us. And us, I mean women, real women, biological women, women who were born with all the parts that you guys wish that you were. When does the delusion stop? What is the difference between you and someone who has been diagnosed to be mentally insane? What's the only difference is you don't have a straitjacket on. Stop talking out your fucking ass. Wake up. How are you projecting your anger on real women? Because we are the gatekeepers. We are the gatekeepers for periods. We the only one that fucking bleed, honey. We the only ones that can give birth. We make y'all people. We make y'all. Y'all come from us. You can't be us. You will never. You're chasing something you'll never, ever get. You'll never be that.
Like, hello.
Wow. So that was Jess's response. And in response to Jess, TS basically said, and we all know TS is a kind of popular transgender that's on WeTV and had the whole thing with Kia, the rapper, and Queen's Court and all of that. But she says that there are so many real women that get mistaken for being transgender women. And that's where a lot of anger comes from. I hope they take a good look at how transphobia affects all women. Now, I'm getting ready to open up the podcast, open up the channel, but why is it that now, although Jess said what she said, it was true, and it may have been harsh, and people may not like what she had to say, but it was true. Why is it that every time a woman says you cannot be a woman, all of a sudden it is transphobia? I'm opening up the panel. Let me hear from Demario, Iron, then Jasmine, then Kenneth, but I'm giving the panel over to y'all. Talk to me. Is it transphobia? Is it truth? Did she lie? What are we doing? Iron Will, it's on you. Demario dropped, and then we going to Jasmine and Kenneth.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, I don't got my camera on. I'm looking a hot mess, but I don't believe it's nothing transphobic about it. It's totally different genetics. It's different chromosomes. There's no way a transgender can have periods. It just doesn't happen. You know, they don't have uteruses. They don't have the mechanics, and I mean, maybe her delivery was a little, a little harsh. I guess that's probably what they taken it as. But I mean, she told no lies. I think she was right. She was accurate. I would like to see more celebrity women, or especially comedians, because they got the freedom of speech to speak out in her support. If they support her or not. It's just sad that she's kind of dying on this hill by herself and nobody's really supporting her. And I see like straight women even attacking her, which is really crazy. So I don't know. This is a whole mess to me. That's all I got to say though.
Jasmine, it's on you. Talk to us. Jasmine, you there?
Oh, sorry, I'm here. So, in response to your question, why is it always transphobia? Because that's the only argument they have. There's no logic to the worldview of transgenderism. There's no response to what we present as arguments. So the only response is an appeal to emotion. If you don't agree with us, that means you hate us. If you don't see things exactly our way, that means you're against us. Therefore, you're wrong because you're hateful, you're a bigot, you're a transphobe, instead of listening to what we have to say. There's no reason for us to refer to ourselves as cisgender or cis women. We are women, okay? Cis is a brand new phraseology that no one ever used. It just joined the dictionary in 2015, okay, 8 years ago. And it only relates to their worldview. It only relates to gender ideology. It doesn't relate in any other way. So we've created this phrase to basically coddle people who believe that you can actually change your gender at will. A lot of us still don't believe that. And they're saying if you don't believe that, you're not a part of our society, you're hateful, we're going to cut you out. And I think we need to stand up against it. I think we need to say, no, we reject that phrase. We reject the idea that you can select your gender at will. You're born a certain sex. Sex and gender are inextricably linked. You cannot separate sex from gender. They're linked, because if you want to separate them, then why are people taking on secondary sex characteristics? In other words, breasts, things that show your gender, things that show your sex. Why are people taking on secondary sex characteristics to demonstrate their gender? Because they're linked. Sex and gender are basically the same thing. So they want to say, oh, gender is how you feel inside, but sex is how you were born. Okay, so it's how you feel inside. So why you got to change your secondary sex characteristics? Why you got to look like the opposite sex? Because they're inextricably linked. Okay, so your whole worldview, if you buy into the transgender ideology, makes no sense. It has no logic to it. So once you expose that, now all of a sudden, oh, you're a hater, you're a bigot. And that's the only argument they have, an appeal to emotion. They don't have an argument. So that's why it's always like that. That's why it's always, you're a hater, you're a bigot, you're a transphobe, because that's all they have. They have nothing. They have no logic. They have no facts. And when you respond with the logic and the facts, oh, you're a transphobe. That's all they got.
Stay on, Jasmine. I want to come back to you because we're going to talk about this debate between gender and sexuality. Kenneth, it's on you, and then we go on to OG Patrice. Talk to us. Is it transphobia? Is it truth? Is Jess Hilarious in the wrong? What's going on? Give us your opinion. Kenneth, talk to us.
Nah, I 100% agree with Jess. Look, there's no such thing as a trans. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
There's no such thing as a trans woman or trans man. You either a man or a woman. That's the rest of it is political bullshit. That is all. Uh, these people, the delusion that's going on is absolutely asinine, as 15, as 20. I've never heard anything like this in my life. Um, so if I don't know what they plan on doing, it's not a good idea here. That they're pushing this on kids. They're doing all kind of crazy stuff. Uh, I really wish, Ange, that you really get back in there and and get this stuff on up out of here, man. I can't do it no more.
OG Patrice, talk to us. We are now cis women. Periods don't belong to us. They're saying Just Hilarious is a transphobe. What are we doing?
Hey, how you doing, sis? How's everybody doing? Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. It's a little wind blowing in the background, but we hear you.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm outside trying to, it's a little windy, but yeah, I'm glad we are talking about this subject tonight. I think, salute to Jess for standing up, and I definitely think that more biological women need to definitely, stand with her. I know I do. It's funny how they try to push narrative on us and force us to accept the fact that they want to call us um, cis women, or they want to say that change the wording for giving birth or breastfeeding our children. It's the convolution of how they trying to push the narrative on us, but then don't and want us to accept their pronouns and to call them respectfully. So if I am a natural born woman, female, been that way my whole life, now you're going to try to say because you're trans and you literally probably just trans 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you haven't been a female, a woman, naturally born your whole life. Your organs look different from mine. So I don't understand the narrative that they trying to spin there, sis. So no, I stand with Jess for sure.
Let's talk about this debate. Okay. Let's talk about this comment from T.S. Madison. I want to know how some of the women that's on the panel tonight feel about the fact that she's stating that there's so many real women that just get mistaken for transgender women, and that's where a lot of the anger comes from. Is it? How do you feel about the fact that they believe that real women are jealous of trans women? And we know that trans women, a lot of them are beautiful. I mean, you've had a lot of work done. I mean, there's a lot of makeup, a lot of hair, a lot of, we know it's not all natural. So is it jealousy? Talk to me.
Well, me myself, if I have to say, I don't know no naturally born female that has ever been jealous of a transgender woman as a whole, right? Like, and if there are naturally born women that get mistaken for trans women or whatever, because we know that some women have kind of structured features where, especially if they look like their father, they can tend to look, a little bit more of the masculine in their face or whatever. And I think Jess had said that a celebrity had mistaken her for a transgender and tried to, I guess, go in her DM and flirt with her. But there's no jealousy there. I think it's the opposite, actually, because I think they make more of an effort to try to look at like us than we do try to look like them. So I think that it would be in reverse if I would have had to speak on that. I just find that, really um, unfortunate that I don't know why we have to fight. They are a protected class. Like they literally got laws protecting them, but they come at us and we're unprotected. We're unprotected by our men for the most part. And now some women now don't even want to speak up. And that's why it's so important that we must stand behind Jess Hilarious, because we are an unprotected class. They are a protected class, but they come against us with the rhetoric. I don't get it.
Well, to your point, I want to hear from Jasmine too, but to your point, this is how Tasha K got in it now. Tasha K had another post put up, and she was basically saying, telling TS, and y'all know Tasha Case and Jess both can be very harsh, and I can sometimes too. But she was saying how, TS looked just like her mama and got diabetes like her mama and gonna walk with her cane like mama. I was like, oh Lord, Tasha K, you went there. But I don't see that post up anymore, but I do see this one, and she says, correction, real women get mistaken for being men, not trans women. And that makes sense. She said, because we are labeled aggressive or masculine and etc. I'm not exempt, and I'm also a part of the problem that further pushes this underlying hate. Let's leave trans women out of this and deal with the root problem. Black women have always been exempt from feminism and demonized because of our God-given strengths that most of our men don't even have. But we simply submit just to be accepted, when in fact God made Black women the only race of women to be able to carry two babies, one in the belly, one on the back, while cooking, cleaning, working, riding that thing all at the same time. That's why most want to be us, adding what they call a sprinkle of feminine powder to spruce it and sell it back to us. We invented feminism. My apologies to Jess Hilarious and others. This is my stance going forward. Everything ain't funny. Jasmine, I'm giving it over to you. Is it jealousy? Talk to me.
I think the jealousy claim is from a trans woman's desire to be a part of our world. And certainly there is some competition in the world of women. You know, we want to um, be, you know, the best looking. We want to attract the best mate. We want to, but it's not quite like how they're doing it because they're still men. And so they're really competing in a way that doesn't make sense. Like, I'm never competing with a trans woman because the type of mate that a trans woman would attract is not the type of mate that I want to secure. So this jealousy claim doesn't make sense to me. And in terms of beauty, you know, I think natural born women have a certain essence that cannot be captured with makeup. I'm not wearing makeup, or you know, fake
To
eyelashes or
be
wigs.
mentally
You know,
insane. What's the only difference is you don't have a straight jacket on. Stop talking out
Go
your
ahead,
fucking
keep
ass.
talking.
Wake
okay.
up.
Yeah,
How are you
Jess, I'm like,
projecting your
let Jess
anger
cook.
on real women?
So,
Because we are the
so
gatekeepers.
the
We are the
idea that
gatekeepers
we're
for
competing
periods. We the
with,
only one
with
that fucking
men,
bleed.
I can't. It's too much.
We the
I
only
can't.
ones that can give birth. We make y'all people.
And
We
I think
make
that that's
y'all.
a point
Y'all
that you
come
put
from
up too,
us.
y'all. This is an
You
open
can't be us.
conversation.
You
Let's
will
bring
never.
Tay
You're
Slay in the
chasing something you'll
conversation.
never
When we
ever
say
get. You'll
competing
never
with
be
men,
that.
not only
Like,
competing with men that are basically
Hello.
now saying they're women, but what about what's going on too in our government, where we see men being allowed to participate in women's sports? Is that something that we really support? Like, are we willing to overlook the obvious? I'm gonna give the panel over to Tay Slay, and then I want to hear from some of the men about how they feel about men being allowed to play in women's sports, and some of the women as well. But Tay Slay, it's on you. Give us your thoughts.
Thank you for having me. I just want to say, as far as people being able, well, men or boys being able to be in girls and women's sports, I feel like it's unfair. It's a slap in the face. Girls work very hard to try to compete with one another. It's physically and biologically an advantage for men to compete with women. We see it time and time again. I saw the volleyball player get spiked with the ball in the head, and she got knocked out, had a concussion. I saw the MMA player, fighter, um, get knocked out with a, what did you say, a brain? They said a skull, something was wrong with the skull, a contusion or something like that. By the male MMA fighter acting like a woman. I just think it's totally unfair, and it's very, like I said, it's a slap in the face for all women and girls across the board who have to compete with men who already have a physical and biological advantage. You know, swimmers, all that across the board. Thank you.
Iron, let me hear from you how you feel about men being allowed to play, or males being allowed to play on female sports.
No, I totally disagree with it. I don't think like the last speaker said, physically men, got more strength, upper body strength and stuff like that. And particularly I only see I guess it's trans women, yeah, ones that used to be men go into female sports. I don't really see any females who used to, or I guess now men, trans men who used to be women going to any men's sports and dominating. You never see anything like that, and it's like I just I think there should be more requirements because I see a lot of dudes who just it seems like all they do is shave their facial hair and grow a ponytail. Now they're a woman, and I think it's pretty weak for any man to leave the male sports world and go into a female sport and dominate it. I think it's just it's a mockery of it. It's disrespectful, and at this rate, I mean, by the time we get a first female president, it's going to be transgender. It's going to be trans woman if we keep going down this road. So
And you
I,
know
I
what's
just I
you
disagree
know
with that.
what's you know what's amazing? What's amazing is that we see is the trans men taking over the women's sports. We don't never see like the trans women or the women taking over the men's sports, right?
Right.
We don't see the women dominating the men's sports. That's how you know it's not balanced and it's not fair. We only see this complete takeover by men who say they have transitioned to be women and now playing in women's sports. And what's so dangerous about what's happening in our government is that they don't even have to all the way like transition. All they literally got to do is just put on some makeup and a wig and say I identify as a female, and they're able to play on female sports. And I'm really concerned about why more people in the public are not speaking up about this. The Mario Holtz, talk to us. The Mario, can you hear us? Hello.
That's a lot of feedback. You may want to mute them.
Okay, OG or Jasmine, y'all jump in here.
I'm gonna jump in here because you said that they just have to put on makeup and a ponytail, and that's partially true. A lot of people will have like a lot of sports organizations will have standards like you have to be on the hormones for a year, for example, to demonstrate that you're in the transitioning process and that you have some feminine hormones floating around your body. And the danger is that what we're gonna see is kids will start taking these hormones and hormone blockers, puberty blockers, younger and younger so that they can further justify this transition toward anyone being a part of whatever sport they identify with. And the issue with that is now these kids are taking these dangerous drugs that can harm them. And what happens with the males that want to be females is they end up with micro penises, which cannot be transformed into the whatever they create in the surgeon's room to mimic our vagina. It's not a vagina because there's no way. But what happens is they get these micro penises, and there's no turning back from that because they block puberty so that the males could not, gain in height and gain in bone density and gain in the size. Look at the size of a man's hands compared to the size of a woman's hands. They're just different sizes. So obviously men have this massive um, competitive advantage against women. They've got wide shoulders, they've got large hands, they've got height, they've got long limbs, they've got testosterone that makes their muscles stronger. They're just superior athletically to women. That's why women have their own leagues. We all know this is common sense. This is biology. Everyone's aware of this. We're acting dumb, like we don't know. And then on top of that, we're using science to justify, well, what if they were on puberty blockers and they never gained in height and they never got their large hands and they never got their wide shoulders and their small, narrow waist and their center of gravity never changed and they're equal to women. Well, if you put them on puberty blockers that young, you're ruining their lives. You're destroying their natural anatomy and how they were meant to grow and develop in favor and in service of your worldview, your stupid, illogical, nonsense worldview. That doesn't work for me. We shouldn't be destroying children in service of a transgender ideology. Can't we love trans people in a different way? Why do we have to accept nonsense in order to love trans people?
Or, or,
Yeah,
or
I want to hear from Sachi and then E. Brooks. Go ahead, OG, real quick.
Now, yeah, I just want to say, and why do every time when we take our stance as women, naturally born female with female organs from the time we come out of our mother's wombs, why every time we have to take a stance, we are dubbed as transphobic or homophobic or whatever? Like I don't understand that. And the community, that's the first thing they say because that's the only defense they have. Because whether you talking nature, or whether you're talking science, they know the truth, but they push these narratives on us, and we know that they're more dominant in our sports and things of that nature, and dominating, and as opposed to the opposite sex in the female sports arena. So it's very counterintuitive, but that's the argument that they have, because they have no other argument to try to push, or any other narrative to try to push.
Let me go to Sachi and go to E. Brooks. Come on, y'all tune in. Chime.
Hey, when you think of toxic masculinity, what do you think about? You think about the tough guy or whatever you think, right? You don't think about a man putting a wig on trying to stipulate to women what a woman is, do you?
Well, not only that about what a woman is, just a basic takeover, a demand. Telling women what to do. How to parent their children. We looking at a complete loss of parental rights. Imagine a mother that's a single mother that's raising her children, and you face with a man that's pretending to be you, like he a better mother than you or no more than you know. You are absolutely right, and we have been put in a position where if that toxic masculinity shows up, it's a hate crime. But if the man identifies as a woman and beats the mess out of the woman, then it's no longer considered, domestic violence or some type of assault case, because it's considered to be a woman against a woman. Very good point. Keep going.
My position is they lied to us about what toxic masculinity is. Because I think these guys putting these wigs on trying to take over everything women is the height of toxic masculinity. That's what I think.
And not to mention the fact that they are able to put a wig on and say that they are transgender, and go into a prison system and go in and be with other women and then impregnate other women. So, like, again, it's counterintuitive, and it's very hypocritical of the stance that they take as transgenders, and then to push a narrative on us to tell us what we're not, or what we should be called. That's the main thing that I have a problem with. And I'm not saying everyone from that community does that, but that is the narrative and the agenda that is being pushed upon heterosexual females, naturally born females.
E. Brooks is on you. Talk to us.
Hey, Angela, I miss you so much. I'll be on the lives and hey, chat. Just want to say. But so, what I'm going to say is, for one, there's a root to it. And so, the root to this is Hollywood has been doing this. So, they've been transgendering kids forever. So now they want to normalize it in the rest of the world's community so they don't get in trouble for it. Just like Donald Trump said, they need to be locked up. Hollywood has been operating in a whole nother set of laws and rules. So they have gotten children from Africa and their own children, and they've been transgendering the heck out of them as babies and children. We see the pictures all the time. It's been boiling me up for years. And I hate the fact that they can actually go get some babies from another country and adopt our children, Caucasian women, and, getting African children, and then have the nerve to transgender them. So this is the issue. It's a root to it. And Hollywood has been doing it. So now they're imposing it on us to normalize it so they don't get in trouble, because Donald Trump is already on it. He wants their tails locked up like they should have been, and other people have been noticing, like, what kind of mess is this? So that's what it is. And I feel bad for Jess. Yeah, of course we stand with her. But my thing is, I want to see how it plays out, because most of Hollywood and people that are so pressed to be in Hollywood, they'll start bullying them. They won't give them no play, no airplay, no money. And then they'll, say what they want them to say. Oh, I'll do what you want me to do for a couple dollars for a bone. So this is what our community does too. Just for a couple dollars, oh, we'll do what somebody tell us to do. Oh, well, it's all right then. So it's just a game that's been played, and it needs to be attacked.
Yeah, I agree. And the fact that they want to cancel people and, stop people's bag and fire people from their jobs from having a opinion. It's like a dictatorship that they're trying to force down our throats because we have a right to speak our minds. We have a right of the freedom of speech, and they're trying to take that away. That's all. They're trying to take our voices away and literally have us afraid to say anything. So when you have a celebrity, someone like Jess Hilarious come out that's risking it all, because watch, if you guys pay attention, she probably not going to get as many gigs anymore as she would. We know who runs Hollywood. We know a lot of them from their community runs Hollywood. So we know they stance on it. So just pay attention to how many stand-up comedian roles she get, or movie opportunities, or TV opportunities after this.
Well, it's amazing because I remember seeing another video of T.S. Madison, a social media ad where she was promoting transgenderism in teens and in the youth. And I'm like, I just feel like at that point, you're just going too far when we begin to push this agenda on children. But again, not even going there. Today's conversation is all about the fact that they believe, for whatever reason, that us as women, and we are jealous, that we need to be renamed, no longer referred to as women, referred to as cis women, no longer referred to as mothers, now referred to as birthing people, no longer referred to as being able to breastfeed, but now being labeled as chest feeding. And I just cannot understand why our community is so asleep at the wheel when it comes to this political agenda. Sis was absolutely right. Yeah, it's in Hollywood. We see it. It's all in the movies. They've been promoting it. But not only is it in Hollywood, it's in the government. Not only is it in the government, it's in the church. Not only is it in the church, it's in your everyday society. So that means that you have to watch as well as pray. That's what my grandmother used to say all the time. Y'all got to watch our children. Jazz, I see you back in the back office. We're going to play these clips one more time and get on this. I don't understand why they believe that women are jealous of trans women. Now, respectfully, I'm going to say this. A trans woman, in every essence of the fact, wants to be a woman. So there's no way that you can say that we are jealous of you and we are what you strive to be every single day. Do I give them respect for just being beautiful? Yeah, if it's natural. But if you had to go to a doctor, then why do you feel like you deserve that credit? Somebody said you got a trans child, Angela. What you talking about? What I said? What I said? What did you get? What did you understand?
I
You
think that I
deserve
think
that
they think,
credit. If
sis.
it
I
ain't
think they
natural,
think that I think they think that make a difference because you have a trans child, as opposed to your opinion and views or in your morals or what you stand for on this issue. Just because you have a child, I don't understand that, and it's like they push that on you to try to, like, a guilt, the same way they're doing us as women. It's amazing how the cognitive dissonance and the passive aggressive behavior of people like them and said people that do that. It's
Angela, and another thing, we never ever gave a darn about the trans people, people dressing as women. They've been doing this mess since the beginning of time. We have never ever cared about men putting on women clothing. If we was a true woman and wanted a true man, we just stayed away from that. We knew about them all their life. We might have thought it was funny. So them coming for you with that dumb little comment, nobody ever cared. Nobody ever cared. We're talking about the children. Boom.
and that's what it is. It's just a trick of the enemy because they want to try to use that to say, oh, well, you can't say nothing. You need to be quiet. No, we're going to continue to use our platform to talk about exactly what is going on with these children and this agenda that we see these days. And it's just crazy that people are overlooking just because they want to be loyal to a party. I see Jasmine in the back, y'all. Let's hear these clips one more time, y'all. One more time. It's just absolutely unbelievable to me what was said.
This is what I mean
Listen to this.
when the transphobia just out,
Uh-oh.
the audacity and just the arrogance for cis women to believe that they own periods, that they own womanhood. You don't. Okay, you don't own
Where is
periods.
it? Why
You
can't I
don't
get
own
it to
womanhood.
play?
You experience
Trying to
both,
mess the thing up.
and
Hold
both are
on.
different for every
Get the
person.
little box
But as
up
a
here
cis
with the
woman,
sound.
it
Don't
doesn't
know
belong
how
to
to
you,
do
so you
it.
can't gatekeep it. Like,
Oh, I
hello.
don't know how to do it. Let me do this. Let me try this. Let's see if it's gonna work this time. What was
So
this one? We look at this one. T.S. Madison says, let me get one thing clear. She says, I've stood up for and fought tooth and nail for black women. I've put a lot of black women on, used my platform to uplift black women, as well as to let it be known that I'm not a female, but I am a black trans woman. So I'm addressing this as such, and let me put an act on it. She says, Jess, hilarious. I never disrespected you nor came at you publicly. When you said sideways shit I didn't like, I inboxed you. Your mouth don't put no fear in my heart because you're not the only bitch that can put a read on the floor. So if it's up, then it's up. But as a grown individual, I don't want to go that route because that's not going to solve nothing. But we can. I'm all day with it. Now I posted what I said because of what came out of your own experiences. Every time trans women and real women unite on some good shit, you know the blogs ever posting or talking about it. The moment one individual offends, you all automatically group us all in the mix. I clearly know that only females have periods and uteruses and have never stood on the side of the majority. But what you're not gonna do is make it seem like you're gonna press down on me and call me phony. Now, what's crazy about all this, y'all, is it's still just a man bullying a woman. I'm gonna be quiet and give somebody else the floor. Go ahead.
I think that's a lot of toxic masculinity coming out on T.S. Madison's side. So call it what you want, call it what you will, but that sounds like when we as women have to fight against men that fight us and say we're too masculine or whatever. Again, these conversations become convoluted when they try to push the narrative on naturally born women. I don't understand, like, what is the vitriol for? And I think that Jess was responding to the transgender that said that. She wasn't responding to T.S. Madison, but it is what it is. But uh, the frustration part for me is to say that we are not the gatekeepers. Okay, do they want to be the gatekeepers? Do they want the periods? Do they want to have the babies? Do they want to be able to
The
naturally
audacity
breastfeed?
and just
Do
the arrogance for cis women to believe that they own periods, that they own womanhood. You don't.
Keep
Okay,
going.
you don't own periods. You don't own womanhood. You experience both, and both are different for every person. But as a cis woman, it doesn't belong to you, so you can't gatekeep it. Like, hello.
Yeah, no. Well, do she want to gatekeep it? Do they want to gate? I mean, what do they want?
Another point I got to make, for one, I was just thinking about the so-called, trans people's quality of life. That's a surgery. It's real. So
This
people
is what
really
I
thinking
mean
out of
when the
a real
transphobia just
lens,
comes out. The
thinking out of a
audacity
lens
and
like
just
that's not a great
the
quality of life.
arrogance for cis women to believe that they
And
own periods,
that's not
that
living
they
to
own
100 years
womanhood.
old, like
You
our
don't.
grandparents
Okay,
and
you
those
don't
that
own
lived,
periods. You
and
don't own
mostly every
womanhood.
woman in
You
my church, everybody
experience
in my church.
both, and both are different for every
Got the
person.
sound
But as a
back, y'all.
cis
I want
woman,
y'all
it
to
doesn't
hear. I
belong
want
to you,
y'all to
so you
hear
can't
this.
gatekeep it.
We're
Like,
gonna get ready to start this
hello.
over. So this is the trans woman, and this is what I'm saying. Like, to me, is I mean, at this point, it's just disrespectful for men to be coming at women in this manner. Like, for you to even feel like you have the audacity to come after, a natural born woman and to tell her that periods don't belong to her. I mean, I don't know not one woman that asked for a period or that went to a doctor and said, give me a surgery so I can get a period, or that went to a doctor and said, please give me a uterus. Like, I don't know any woman that has asked for those things. Those things come quite naturally. So the fact that we are even entertaining this is a problem for me. Listen to what he has to say, y'all. I'm gonna play it one more time.
This is what I mean when the transphobia just comes out. The audacity and just the arrogance for cis women to believe that they own periods, that they own womanhood. You don't. Okay, you.
First of all, calling us arrogant, calling us cis women. Now you done made up yourself into a woman, and all of a sudden we arrogant and we cis women because we believe that periods belong to us. Who the arrogant one here? Who's the arrogant one here? Let's keep on going.
You don't own periods. You don't own womanhood. You experience both, and both are different for every person. But as a cis woman, it doesn't belong to you, so you can't gatekeep it. Like, hello.
Wow, panel, I'll give it to you. Talk to me.
Let me jump in here. I've heard people say that what this trans person was trying to say was that periods also belong to those women who cut their hair off and take testosterone, and now all of a sudden they're men. So we can't gatekeep periods because there are some men who get periods. I'm sorry, if you have a vagina and you get periods, you're not a man. Okay? I know what a man is, and you're missing very important hardware. And if you go to the doctor and they install that hardware, it's not going to level up to what we're looking for. Women who are interested in men. You're not a man. You're a woman presenting as a man. You're a trans man. So you're still a woman. So this idea that, oh, cis women, which I reject, I'm not going to use your silly um, language to describe myself. I'm a woman. The woman who takes testosterone and goes to the doctor, cuts her breasts off, and gets a fake penis is still a woman, okay? And that's why she gets periods, because she's a woman. And I'm a woman, and we get periods. So yeah, we're gonna gatekeep that because it belongs to us. So the reason she's able to say this, or he really, the guy with the wig on, is able to say this with such confidence is he's looking at the world through his lens, through his world's view. And in his world view, there are men who walk among us who get periods. All right. So we
I
can't
just want
gatekeep
to
that.
say this, like, and he gotta be insane because they talking about being women. I don't know one woman that wants her period every month. I don't know one, unless she thinks she's pregnant, she's looking for a period. But I mean, I don't know one woman that actually enjoys having her monthly menstruation. Just Bree, you just joined us. Talk to us. Are we jealous? Do we own periods? What is going on?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, Angela. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I have a new appreciation for my period. I'll tell you that much. Um, Even though I haven't seen it in about 8 months, but and that's because I just it sounds to me like just hilarious was responding to this person, and I feel like as opposed to T Madison coming out swinging, instead of her just acknowledging, maybe both sides, they automatically put on a defense. Because if you really support women and appreciate women, you know, you should be able to say, okay, this person was wrong just because they're trans. You don't automatically side with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, acknowledge the fact that this person with the wig on, um, you know, could be offending us as real women. You know what I'm saying? And still be able to quote unquote stand in your transness. That's my opinion.
And I got a question I want to propose to everybody on the panel, and y'all can jump in as you may. Why is it that when a white person puts on blackface, everybody gets upset and says that they're imitating black people, right? Everybody gets mad. Oh, white people can't put on blackface. But if a man puts on the face of a woman, it's okay. Aren't they the same? What's the difference in that? What is the difference in why are we upset about white people saying they're black or pretending to be black and then not upset about
men pretending to be women or women pretending to be men? Talk to me about that.
Well, I'll just say, in my opinion, because of the history of the blackface on white people and the the racism that comes with that, from way back in the 20s and 30s when they were doing and they were doing it to make a mockery out of black people. So that is different from when we see a man dress up as a woman or dress up as a man, or those are two different narratives. It's race versus the sex/gender part of it. So when you're talking about a white person that put on blackface, that stems deep within our culture and roots as being a very racist connotation. It's a whole different point of view because they mocked us. The whole watermelon chicken, in blackface, making us, that was a mockery. They were making a mockery out of black people.
Aren't men doing the same thing, mocking women? And then why is it that the majority of time when we see the images of men portraying women, like if we look at Martin with Shanae, we look at Wanda with Jamie Foxx, we look at Tyler Perry with Medea, why is it always that not only are they mocking women, but they're presenting black women to be of one type: ratchet, loud, alley, angry, independent, don't need a man? Isn't it almost the same thing? Now, we're going to pull, I get what you're saying about the racism. So it's not a black versus a white thing, but the act is still the same, right or wrong.
Well, what I say about it is, for one, the difference in that is when you named all the black male actors, Dave Chappelle told you they was bullied into that nonsense. So that's something, that's initiation in Hollywood. Once again, strike two is that boy that was that made that little thing that was saying all that dumb stuff. He's been sponsored. So once again, for let's see, what do you call it? What's some people that be on your live just listening and uh uh for the people that's listening on your live, Andrew, that really don't support you, this is for them.
What, in the bushes, in the bushes, in the
Right, for the
bushes?
vultures, right. Look, for whoever they are. So I want to leave this. Yeah. So for the Biden and for the Democratic Party, that's sponsored. So that's why this boy is doing that, because the transgender surgery was paid for under Obamacare. 100% free. If you wanted to go get everything cut off, breasts, all this, and that, that's what everybody wanted to know what Obamacare was good for. That's what it was for. So that little boy right there, it was sponsored. He's been paid for. Just like, that's why I say all this little orchestrated stuff that they keep doing in Hollywood and Scarlett Smollett. Most of these people have been paid for. For all your vultures listening.
I got something I want to bring up when you talk about that Obamacare, because a lot of people don't remember this. Hold on, let me show y'all something. Y'all know we got to pull the receipts. I love when they do this. Hold on. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of images here. I want to show you something, though. I want to show you something. This is him right here. Can y'all see that? I just want to know if y'all see that. And I want y'all to go back and do y'all research on this. This is the Obamacare kid, okay? He was 8 years old. That is Joe Biden right there with his hands on his shoulders, sniffing them. You know, Joe Biden loves to sniff children. That is Obama right there. They are signing the Obamacare Act, right? You guys have to go do your research on the Obamacare kid, right? That is him at 8 years old. I have to show you guys something now, because believe me, none of us had any idea that this was happening. Hold on. This is him. There he goes. That's him now with his grandmother. Kid, his mother died. He lives with his grandmother, comes to the White House. They sign him, celebrate him in the Obamacare Act, and sexually transition this kid. That's him when he was 8. This is him when he was 18. Y'all don't believe it? She telling the truth. This is why this channel can't get no juice. This is why they don't support me. Matter of fact, y'all, I need y'all to donate to Auntie Angie house, everybody. Hold up, I'm finna put it down here right now because you already know they coming for me. I need y'all to go ahead and donate to Auntie Angie's house. You already know. There it is right there. Look, this is why they censor your girls. See, they don't want, and it's all out there for you to see. All you got to research is the Obamacare kit. We had no idea that they were using our tax dollars to sexually transition children. This is what I'm saying. Like, to the black community, you say that this is our king. How? When you destroyed the nuclear family, you didn't do me a favor by feminizing my child or making it legal. You did. And I mean, it is what it is. I have to be honest. People don't like for you to be honest anymore because they say what we dealing with right now. What they say it is, y'all. Transphobia. You can't say nothing. You got to know the Democrats have passed a law where you can get time for misgendering somebody, but they ain't passing a law to stop people from saying the word nigga. She telling the truth, y'all. Come on, let's get into it. Gender versus sexuality. Let's talk about it. They are saying that all of this is going on because we don't understand that there is a difference between gender and sexuality. Jasmine gave us a real quick, easy breakdown for it. I'm gonna give you my breakdown and then I'm gonna pass it. They are absolutely the same. If gender and sexuality was not the same, people wouldn't be going to have sex changes to match the gender that they identify with. These people are going through a whole sexual transitioning process because they want their sex to match the gender that they identify with. That's why there is no difference between gender and sexuality. That's why we have to be very careful with what we begin to tell and allow them to teach our children. Let's talk about it, y'all. Gender versus sexuality. We're going right down the line. Iron, we're going to start with you. There go y'all president. There you go. Took that little 8-year-old boy. You see it right there. Child, please. Go ahead, Iron. It's on you.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what to say, but I do notice though. I feel like they always use the black community to push this mess. It feels like they always got us out front for LGBT rights, or they always try to compare the civil rights era to what they're going through, and they're getting laws passed at an unprecedented rate. We still don't even have a hate crime bill, so you can't really do nothing against a transgender. You can't even say, I don't want my kid reading that book because it's too sexual, or the whole LGBTQ movement is just taking full steam, and it really doesn't even matter what a lot of parents get to say about it. It feels like they don't get to have any say against what these kids learn and what's getting pushed on our kids, and even with Disney Channel and all these other these kids shows, they're pushing it heavy too. So it's just, I don't know. I just disagree with it all. Especially when I see the like the pride parades, which are just sexual debauchery. It's just, when I see grown men twerking in diapers and thongs in front of kids, it's like, what is this supposed to be teaching children?
Look how they rocked us. Look how they rocked us to sleep, y'all. All we saw was a black president with a little black boy up there, and we was like, oh, black power, oh, Black Lives Matter. Didn't even know that they was finna take this little boy and turn him into a man.
Yeah, we fell for that as a black community. We thought he was going to be the black savior, and he turned out to be, just another devil. So, but I mean, that's all I got to say. I really don't know what to say about it. I don't have any kids, but I just disagree with this whole, pushing this agenda in our children.
E. Brooks talked to us, gender versus sexuality and gender ideology being taught in school, preschool. Let's go.
Oh my God. I don't know. I'm just so grateful that my kids is teenagers. But but I do, but I'm with you, Angela. I do fight for these kids. So at the end of the day, I'm always observing, and I'm ready at any moment to save a child. Because it's in my nature, and I'm, only man I fear is God. So With that being said, um, yeah, that's just, I mean, like I said, it's an agenda they pushing on us. And like I said, we've been bamboozled, we've been played for forever. But I thank God I read and somebody was ministering last night. And so the Lord has finally, just broke out that spirit of knowledge, that wisdom. He has pushed it all over this earth. So they fighting everywhere. They fighting in every country, because this mess been happening everywhere. It's the people that's running it. And, we just got to be ready to fight and stand for righteousness because, who can live like this? It's gone farther and farther and farther out of, a norm or anything that makes any sense. So my thing is, yeah, everybody's not perfect either. But my God, a lot of people, like, some of this stuff is just way out of hand. And we gotta, stand up, and we cannot be afraid, because matter of fact, one thing we can't feel, we don't have to fear. There's many officers. There's many Trump supporting officers. That's why this government can't run up on us like they want to. That work in these jails, that work in these prisons, that work in the police departments. So, okay, that's why they haven't ran up on America like that. So they can keep playing all they want to. It's some fighters out here. So everybody else better be ready to stand up.
I hear you loud and clear, OG Patrice. Gender versus sexuality and gender ideology in school.
Yeah, they try to say that it's not one and the same, but I agree with your perspective on it. Then why are they trying to change their gender to match the sexuality that they want to relate to? As a female woman, I can go in the middle of Chicago on State and Madison and walk down the street, start butt naked, and the police get called on me, and I'm going to jail for indecent exposure. But let me go to a pride parade where there are children, and what they're being exposed to now is all but the same thing, and it's acceptable. You call the police and they tell you, yeah, well, that's just how it is, and I understand, it happens like that. So that's the difference of the hypocrisy for me, but yeah, I agree with your saying. It's the same thing. If I say that I'm a man and I feel like I'm a man deep down in all of that, and then I go to have a sex change to become a man, then I'm saying I'm a man as a gender, but then I'm also changing my sexuality to match the gender that I say I am. So again, it's counterintuitive, and it's hypocrisy.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm bringing up this clip because I know that the last gentleman, Ian, was saying how they got all of these rights and stuff for they got all of these rights for transgenders, and we still don't have a anti-black hate crime bill and all of this stuff. And I'm just sitting up here remembering how they kind of rocked us to sleep on this whole agenda about Black Lives Matter, and then they're constantly telling us about this black maternal health crisis. And then at the same time, if you guys remember, like I'm like, what are the Democrats doing, or the black Congress people in Congress that actually speak for us? Because why is it that we have not had a hold on one second, I'm trying to pull this up. Why is it that we have not had a anti-hate crime bill or any promise for any type of you know health affirming care for black women, since there is a maternal health crisis? And I don't know if you guys remember this, but I wanted to play this guy for you guys so you can remember what the agenda is of this total administration, and how is it that there are so many black people that say that they align with this party, but yet we haven't seen them sit down and have one meeting with the black community about anything that's important to us, whether it's a conversation about reparations, whether it's a conversation about protecting Black women to make sure that they aren't dying in the hospital giving birth, whether it's a conversation about helping Black single mothers, since everything on the table is about abortion. What is the resource? What is the solution to that? Whether it's about, rehabilitating, Black communities. We haven't seen any open conversations whatsoever in anything that's specifically for the Black community after they've cried Black Lives Matter. But guys, listen to this. I hope they.
Do you think states should have a right to ban gender affirming health care?
I don't think any state or anybody should have the right to do that. As a moral question and as a legal question, I just think it's wrong. I think I was saying before we started that my deceased son, used to be the Attorney General of the state of Delaware. He passed the broadest piece of legislation that he, as Attorney General, was able to convince the legislature and the governor to sign, that dealt with.
Now, if y'all don't know who that is, I believe his name is Dylan Mulvaney. That's the whole one they was making all that fuss about Bud Light. But before that, this person was on Twitter talking about 101 days of womanhood or something. Man had tampons, trying to tell people how to use tampons, all of this. And this is why I'm like, we are so lost in the sauce as a freaking community, because we have allowed an agenda. We have allowed men pretending to be women to have more rights than actual women. We have allowed this gender ideology, this whole LGBTQ movement, to become more important than the actual civil rights movement, which was created because of the discrimination that Black people receive due to the color of their skin, not their preferred sexuality. And my question right now to everyone on the panel, and I really wish that there was someone from the community that could join us, is while this entire administration is focused on LGBTQ and trans agendas, especially for children, okay, why is it that we no longer see the importance of us standing up and fighting for our civil rights? How have we allowed our own movement to be pushed to the back of the bus? And somebody please tell me, what rights don't the LGBTQ community have? The panel is open.
Can I just really quick, I want to say something before I forgot, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
So I went to visit the African American Museum in Niagara Falls. My son and my nephew, and I'm not trying to get off topic, so if you feel like I'm off topic, just let me know. But so at the start of the museum is this typical, slavery in chains, because that's, I mean, God forbid they show anything else, but it's the same old, from the chains to the civil rights and Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, the typical same old, same old. It was a pretty small exhibit. And towards the end, I started to they had pictures of it went from the BLM movement, and of course I started rolling my eyes because I'm like, oh Lord, here we go, to LGBT at the very end. There was like a couple of pictures of LGBT stuff. And I'm like, what is this? And what does this have to do with, you know, um our history as a whole or whatever? And I just think that we have to be mindful, or keep mindful, that they are really trying to blur the lines between, or lump us all in um with the LGBT, because we all are aware that black people aren't just black people. It's black and brown. It's always black and this, and black and, or black and that. um and it's kind of similar what they're trying to do now with the Latino community. It's no longer Latino, Latina, it's Latinx. And if they just keep, they keep promoting it, then, and nobody speaks up, it's just gonna roll out of control. But that's all I wanted to say.
Well, for one, we have fell asleep at the wheel and we've given it away. Shame on us. We've given it away. We've allowed it to be hijacked. We have allowed us to be bamboozled. We have totally, totally given, rightly so, based off of because of somebody look like us or somebody dangle a carrot or the shiny object or talk charismatic to us. We fall for that every time. We've been doing it for decades. I say this over and over again. We do it because of tradition, because that's what mama and them and grandmama and them did. We are not thinking outside the box and thinking critically as a people and as a culture. And as everything is getting hijacked or getting co-opted, where we're concerned, we are the only ones that is happening to. When we fight, we stand alone for the most part. But and nobody is saying I'm particularly other races, other sexes, because let's be real, even from that community, they don't consider themselves the blacks or African Americans from that community. They don't consider themselves as black first. They consider themselves as from the LGBTQIA plus community first, because they are protected class, and they know that if they say that they are quote unquote black first or a person of color first, that's not going to get them anywhere. It's not going to get them what they want. They hold the power more so being from said community than they ever are going to claim to be a black person. So we allowed it to happen. Shame on us for that, right? That's my name.
But I disagree with that point. I don't think we allowed anything to happen. I think we, being nurturers by nature, we were like, okay, this is my friend, this is my son, etc., etc. And then there was a lot of bullying involved, because when women was speaking out about the cis word in general, it was like full force jumping, in my opinion. And I don't mean to say it like that, Miss Angela, but that's just how I view it. What T.S. Madison did was a dog whistle for other Black trans women, and they started to uh, attack her. And then they're using the Amanda Seals of the world to be like, oh, um, put down your privileges and provide a safe space. And because if you don't, then you're basking in the rhetoric of white supremacy. And I'm like, for you to have all that education, you are so dumb, like just so dumb. And I hate to be that person, but it pissed me off, because what Jess said was very factual. At what point do we sit back and just be like, enough is enough? Enough is enough. And to the women who are so secure in their womanhood and didn't feel no way, then move out the way and let us women who are secure and being offended say something. Because I feel like we have been nice long enough, and now the trans community sees we're standing up, and then all of a sudden it's these phobias and these phobics. We've never been nasty towards the gay community. We've never. The women who have been nasty, they sit up on these very broad channels and podcasts and TV shows, and their names are never called out. Megyn Kelly literally said transgender women were mental patients, and chastised them on national television. I didn't hear a peep from T.S. Madison or the rest of the trans community. They just sat there and took it. But I'm gonna go back and wait for the next person. Thank you.
Yeah, real talk. I agree with the last speaker. Yeah, I think a lot of us is the black community, us being the way we were mistreated and during civil rights, and it's still to today, we've been treated uh wrong against, from white people, white supremacy, racism, and we see other marginalized groups. So some of us feel like, oh, we got to stand up for them. but at the same time, we were, giving up our rights and allowing, all this debauchery to go on, and just being okay with it. And if we speak out against it, now we're looked at as we're transphobic or homophobic, and which, the black community has never been historically. We always had homosexuals in our community and accepted them. James Baldwin, Billie Holiday, Langston Hughes, a lot of people, back in the day, and we never had any problems with that. So that's just them trying to shame us into accepting all their rhetoric and allow it to go on in our community, which I just say to that, to me personally, I don't mind being labeled as homophobic. I'm secure in myself. I know I'm not. I don't have any problem with anybody gay, lesbian, or trans. I never harmed anybody based on their sexual orientation. And if they want to call me that or label me that because I agree with Jess Hilarious, then that's fine. But I've been called way worse as a black man in America, so that really don't bother me. And I'll yield my time.
So I just want to respond to that, and I say that we did absolutely did kind of drop the ball is because we voted in on the side that pushed these narratives for the most parts for the on the left. Most people that voted on the left, that's what you voted for. You voted for these type of policies and laws and different things to be pushed in place. Now, and when that community, when I worked Obama campaign, I saw that community get behind him with funding, with resources, with a PAC, a super PAC, and everything else. But we didn't do that as a black community to fight against that. So that's why and from time he was on his tour when he was running for office. They were everywhere. You saw them everywhere in the auditoriums where he was speaking everywhere because they had absolutely put the time, the money, the resources, and the fund. Can I say something real quick?
Go right ahead.
Oh, okay. Now I was just thinking, when I first heard about this not that long ago about Just Hilarious, I said, I hope she don't decide to buckle under pressure. She better stand by everything she said, 10 toes, um, because, you know, she's got, I think there's just as many people in support of her that are, um, versus that are upset. And, you know, unfortunately, if she still wants to work and stuff, her job may, she may feel the pressure, but at the same time, don't get on here and say something if you don't mean it. And I just hope she don't feel like she got to back down because that's the one thing I hate the most is
Well,
when people come out and say stuff and then they retract.
Well, they do that because they cancel or take the bag from them, and she's trying to make a living. They what they do is they end up sending her on an apology tour. They end up having that call themselves going to educate her on said community. They do all of this stuff to force the hand of celebrities to try to get them to take back what they said, like they didn't mean it. Y'all saw that what they did to Kyrie. Y'all saw that what they did to Kanye. Y'all saw that what they did to a lot of people. What's his name? Nick Cannon. When you say something about a said community, so that it happens. And when your bag is being stopped or you're being canceled and you have to make a living for your family or yourself, what are you gonna do?
Well, Jess's supporter, her main demographic is Black women. And ironically, T.S. Madison's main demographic is Black women as well. But to me, I don't even like to use terms like misogyny, but that's really what popped out. Like, Jess was addressing a TikToker, and again, I need a trans woman to explain it to me in layman's terms because I got a Louisiana education. What do you need to be at the gynecologist office for when you have a specialist? Like, you go through a series of, despite whatever type of surgeries and whatnot, to a specialist. Now, I get the whole breast thing, but outside of that, a gynecologist cannot help you. So I just don't understand. I'm not anti anything. I didn't see none of these trans women speaking about the maternal health crisis. I didn't see them speaking about fibroids. I didn't see them speaking about these doctors snatching uteruses up out of many Black women's bodies for profit and making things up. I didn't see that. I didn't even see T.S. Madison or the others speak on how that white man murdered that Black woman thinking she was a trans. So again, maybe I'm, part of the phobias or phobics, but I'm not aligning myself with somebody who can't even call out the dysfunction in their own community, let alone try to tell me what I need to be. And I was born this way. Absolutely not.
That's what I said earlier. I agree. Great point. Great point.
The sister that was just speaking, she kind of stole my thunder. That's exactly what I was going to say. That it's absolutely misogyny. Misogyny means to hate women. I can't think of a group that hates women more than a man that's trying to, and look, I'm going to say replace, but that's not really what I mean, because a man cannot replace a woman. But that's what their goal is, even though it's a goal you can never reach. And it's, look, they can live how they want to live. Why do they have to include everyone else in what they want to do? That's my issue. And I'm glad to hear y'all sisters stepping to the plate and telling them to their face, because they need to hear it from women. Because as far as I'm concerned, there isn't a trans woman. You're a man, you're a woman. You're one or the other. You can't be something that you're not. You can't. I'm passing the mic.
I just want to say I agree with what I just want to say I agree with what OG was saying about how they will cancel her. Because it is about money. Like, they gonna put the pressure on you, start canceling out appearances. Like, somebody in the comments has said they want to see how long she gonna be on the Breakfast Club before she get canceled off of that. And I think that at the end of the day, women do gotta come together and tell the truth, right? No matter how uncomfortable it is.
Yeah, just said the quiet part out loud. Only women can have periods. Period. No dude. I'm not having one. My son not having one. Me not having one at all, ever.
And it's the fact that they're saying that Jess is jealous and arrogant and being transphobic. But what do you call it when you come for women? Like, what is it that
Misogyny.
person was doing?
Misogyny. That's exactly what it is. I earnestly believe they actually hate y'all. I do, because I mean, it's no, there's no sane reason to, you know, there's a transgender Asian who bought the Miss Universe contest, and now you have a transgender, um, m- one, a transgender. I don't know if it's a man or a woman. It's a man, but he's playing the role of a woman, and he's representing the Netherlands in the next Miss Universe contest. They got a whole country full of Heidi Klums, and you pick the dude. Well, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's delusional ain't strong enough. to describe this.
Everybody, let's welcome some new people to the panel. Today, we're talking about trans women versus real women. This is off of all of the hype that's going on with the TikToker that basically referred to women as cis women, a lot of natural born women, real women, biological women like myself are very upset with that term because we don't appreciate how we have to have another name because someone else wants to come into this space. Now, comments were made saying that real women are jealous of trans women. Trans women are real women. What is going on? I mean, what's if you're proud to be a trans woman, then why not identify as a trans woman? Why do you have to be a real woman? Somebody talk to me. Let's open up
I
the panel to a new
totally
guest.
agree. Angela, thank you so much. This is Queen Tulsa. As a trans woman, I don't feel like I can take your womanhood. I don't want a period. And I don't want to be me, trans versus you. You know what I'm saying? Um, I know what anatomy I was born with, and I am comfortable being a trans woman. I don't know if the young person was looking for shock value, but that wasn't the way to go. What you did was you're about to cause a war, and you don't even have the ammunition to get everything under control. So my thing is I don't agree with that young person and the statements that they said. It is very much so delusional. I know for a fact I can't have no period. I have children by marriage through marriage. I'm not talking to them about no period. What am I going to tell them? I don't know about it. So that's why they have their mother. It's all about respect, and this is just a fight that the young person just can't win because what the young person was saying was all it was bullshit to me.
What do you think about Jess Hilarious's comments? They're saying that she's being transphobic. What is this thin line between truth and transphobia?
I think that it's been a back and forth with biological women being addressed as trans women, right? Um I think that they need to have a conversation because they both seem like they coming from a place which I don't understand either. I mean, like I don't understand the madness. I think it's just very simple. I mean, a woman, that's her, the biological woman, that's her journey. And I think that people need to lay off the conversation where you don't compare. You can't compete where you don't compare. We can't compete with a period. We don't have one. I'll yield the floor.
Check this out. And the math is going to be math, and it's real, real simple. There's no sense, well, no such rather, messed up with the sense, because none of it makes sense. There's no such as any type of phobia when it is. Now, let me break this down real simple. Phobia, that's extreme fear of, okay? People are not seeing any of those and, and running out in the middle of the street on doggone Peachtree Street and getting hit by a bus. Okay? There's no such. All right? All it is verbal sensationalism. That's all it is. Either you got two X chromosomes or you have an X and a Y. That's the end of the story, end of the day. I don't give a damn what you think you see when you look at it, what you want to. If I had a Chrysler 300 and I put a Phantom grill on the front of it, yeah, it looked just like a Rolls Royce. No, nigga, it's a Chrysler 300. So it don't matter what is done. You're only going to be what you were designated to be when you came out the womb. All this other stuff is sensationalism. It's never going to make any sense. And due to the Biden administration and them supporting all this foolishness, that's why they're getting all of the attention that they're getting. Okay. They need to realize heterosexual people like me that reproduce life with heterosexual women, we make them. They don't make us. You don't have two of them. You know, the only thing two sticks rubbing together can do is start a fire. It ain't gonna make a baby. Stop me when I lie.
I ain't
No
heard
lies,
mine yet. I'm just listening. I yield the floor.
I
no
put it
lies
like this to you
detected.
though, big bro. I got this question
There
for
you
you.
go.
Don't
That's what
you
I'm
think that?
saying. Like,
Don't you think that women asked for this? As far as the whole, we could do anything that you can do
no,
better.
no, no. You can't put that on women. Women didn't ask for no doggone. Women didn't ask for baseball players to doggone be tight ends. Okay. Women didn't ask for that.
Would you rather trans come out and be who they are rather than be locked up in society and fulfilling their fantasy of what we should be? Like, I'm a bit lost. Why is it so important um to even come for trans women? Like, I know for me, I'm not in competition. I know my lane, and let's recognize this is not all. This is only some of the people that are coming out saying, just trying to start a war. Why can't we just come to common ground and say we respect each other, and let's try to work and communicate together. Let's figure this out together.
Because
I
there is
think
no
the
common
problem lie
ground. I'm a
in
man.
the heterosexual community. The problem lie in the LGBTQ plus whatever community. They don't come out and say, "Oh, I'm this." They want to go to people and say they a woman, and then later on down the line, when the person that they dealing with getting humiliated, that now, bro, you feel what I'm saying? That's kind of thing. A woman that was born this way ain't cis. Feel what I'm saying? That's day one woman. You feel me? That's baby right there.
Thank you.
And that's not saying nothing about the person, the person that's on the panel. But I'm saying, I'm not talking about you, but that's kind of the problem that a lot of our sisters running into. You know what I mean?
What's
Hey,
that,
bro.
Pablo?
The only type of cis men I know are sissies.
Oh,
Boom.
okay.
That's as cis as you can get. Sissy.
He
I'm
said
not
something
a
about women, bro. I said something
sissy.
about the woman.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, you got to include the whole package. Don't just put the doggone, no, the scope of the
Yeah, don't leave
doggone
your
rifle
friends out. We don't want to
on
leave
one.
want to leave your sissy friends out, so we'll include them too. Go ahead.
Exactly. Because I tell you, I go back to Chicago to party. You got people that I knew who they were in high
In the
school way
bathhouse.
back in the day.
Right.
And now they run around talking about they doggone Samantha. I'm like, what up, Sam? I don't appreciate you addressing me as that. Well,
Right.
you know, when we was doggone,
And how
when
many
you
drinks
was a
it take for
doggone
y'all to get
center,
cool
when
again?
you was a center on a basketball team, you was loving it, right? I'm not calling you something that you're not. And why,
Not
because
until
I'm
you had
sitting here
them
like
drinks.
this. We know you from back in the day.
Right.
That's like this lying ass DJ that they got. I'm not even gonna say their name.
All
They
right.
lied their way into the house music DJ culture, living lies on lies on
Right.
lies. And
And
I'm
they're
like,
voguing down.
thank you. I'm like, you should have stayed
Right.
a dude because you's a ugly. I almost said the B word. I'm sorry. I don't want to be disrespectful.
Just voguing.
Can I
Yeah.
just say something real quick
I'm like,
too?
nah, pimping. And see, the with house music, the genre that a group of us from Chicago, heterosexual teenagers doing something different from the steppers community, invented, got taken over, transformed, and invaded by the LGBTs.
But
Okay?
this the thing. They got a documentary where the LGBTQ community is stiff out there. They down. They got a whole down low documentary about Illinois now, Chicago
I
specifically.
know. They now check this out. They say house music started in the gay and Latino clubs in Chicago. Okay. Name the gay Latino club and the gay Latino DJ. Ain't nobody named it yet because it never existed. It's sensationalism. All they're trying to do is extract from what other people did and make themselves appear to be special. And you're not. They got this thing in Atlanta, the indigenous house, something, something or another. They be at Piedmont Park. It's one big old sword fighting contest with a bunch of swashbucklers. I'm like,
What time it start?
What the hell is what?
swashbuckler, swordsman, pirates, I matey, sword
Oh,
fighting.
okay.
What time it start, OG?
What you mean? What time it start? They didn't had it already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I ain't
And
want
the
to know how you
doggone
know about it.
the leader and the leader of they pack. I'm sitting here like, dude, you from St. Louis, Missouri. You don't know jack about house music. If you in my age group, 60, you not from New York or Chicago or Detroit. Don't even talk about house music. All right, because it started in Chicago, moved up to Detroit when it became techno, and then New York caught on and it went worldwide. So nah. I'm like, we are the ones, me, Leonard Roy, and a bunch of other young DJs that were 18, 19, just like when they started hip hop, Cool Herc, and the rest of them did it in New York. That's what we did as a house music. And it wasn't no and all that flaring
Well,
around
how
and
was it?
I
Give
was
it
so
to us
about to
old
say, you
school.
said house music was a gay thing, right, School?
it's not a gay thing. It
No, it's
wasn't a
not.
gay thing. It got commandeered by the gay community in the 90s.
Shout out to Little Richard.
It got commandeered. That's like this one artist, just because her voice was kind of on the low end, Crystal Waters, la de dee, la de da, la gypsy woman.
So y'all want to have a ball, a little mini ball, right quick?
A who?
Never mind.
Thank you. They tried to bring her into talking about she was about that life. Crystal Waters is straight about men. And that's it. She ain't on that, you know. But not to derail anything, because the music thing, that's like my go-to point. One of them. This doggone stuff they talk about phobias, and like I said, a phobia. If you have some people that are deathly afraid of snakes, they will see a snake and they will run straight into a tree. I ain't seen nobody look at nobody that is same sex or whatever they call themselves these days, and they ran out in the middle of the street and got hit by a car or a bus. That's a phobia. Okay? Somebody pull out a heater, they finna start blasting. I'm running. You see
Let
what
me
I'm saying?
say, let me say this. I want to say this, y'all, and panel. I'm gonna open it up for y'all to give me y'all thoughts on this. It seems to me like I don't think the majority of people really had an issue with all of this LGBTQ stuff until we started seeing this attack and this target towards children. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me. And then the other question I had too was, what rights doesn't the LGBTQ community have? Those are my two questions.
Yeah, that's when I got a problem with them. When they started targeting towards the children, trying to make the children accept their lifestyles as normal. When we know every doggone 5-year-old that go to kindergarten knows mommy and daddy make babies. What's that nursery rhyme? First come love, then comes marriage, next thing comes a baby carriage. 5-year-olds know this to be true, but they're trying to indoctrinate them into some sort of normalcy. Okay, you can't get two women meow, 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 and make a baby.
Well, OG, me and my husband make it work. We have 3 children.
Yeah, didn't you? You were what, a man?
I'm a trans woman.
No, you were a man having
Let's
sex
be
with a
now,
natural woman.
Hold on,
OG.
School. Hold on,
OG.
School. Just
Let's
have
be
an open mind and let
respectful.
her talk. Hold the open mind and let her talk, G. Let her talk.
Me and my husband, we make it work. We're not around here talking about, oh, this is how you conceive a baby. those aren't the conversations that I'm having with my children. Um, we it's I don't know. It's like nothing different. It's like a regular family. Um, I know my goal was to give my children what I didn't have, and I think that's any parent's goal. Um, no, they're not mine um, by DNA, but when I married my husband, I married them as well. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna take care of them like they are my children. I'm gonna protect them. I don't agree with schools telling my children about the sex or about the lifestyle or anything like that. So I think we just need to play it case by case. But I'm here to have an engagement.
I
I
think
need it
y'all
for
really, I think y'all both kind of saying the same thing in a different way because, and really agreeing with each other. Because what Leonard is saying is that it's not the natural origin. Like we can play house all day. We all played house when we was little, but it's not the natural origin. Two men cannot create life, and two women cannot create life. And all homosexuals come from heterosexuality, and that's what we're saying is just factually true. And at some point, the children have to know that because I don't know if it's fair with all of this gender ideology stuff that we're seeing. And somebody else on the panel, please chime
wow.
in to have a child thinking. So let's say if it's just a little boy and the school is teaching him that he could be a woman or be with a man and grow up and have a family, like that's not necessarily the whole truth and how that works. Like it's a lot more complicated than that. And then how safe is it for us to get so far away from natural family planning? Is it safe for us to begin with? Like, we don't really know what's going to happen in the next generation. Is it safe for us to just be pulling these eggs and having them dried and just getting a sperm donor from somewhere that we don't know nothing about? I mean, is
Well,
it
it goes
safe
back
for
to
us
the
as
guys
a
that
society to get this
oh.
far away from natural family planning?
Yeah. Well, it goes back, I mean, just for anybody, it goes with, I mean, do you know if your man is sleeping around with another man? I mean, so when you talk about, um, I'm sorry.
Angela, let me make one point with picture and no words. This is DNA right here.
Aren't all humans?
Okay, I'm coming off of mute. My thing is this. So one thing that's also nerve wracking to all of us is this. For people that try to, walk a narrow path and try to raise their kids and just try to live a life of success. And even if they, change their lives around, and they're, like I said, they're raising their kids, they have families, this is, a natural order in life. And for there's kids out here that we're out here fighting the battle for kids getting molested by their own uncles, by their own daddies, by their cousin, by their brother.
Mhm.
So that's the issue right there that these poor little kids already got to deal with now,
Thank you.
aside from somebody trying to input some other nonsense in them. And I
Right.
thank God, I was in court the other day, because I work around the courtroom, and a man that was he was charged with incest, and he was charged with, what type of rape charges, other rape charges that follow with it. But I appreciated the fact that they also lined them up because, like I said, sometimes we do encounter things where we see that some people are kind of, they'll pile up charges on blacks. We know that, and we discuss it all the time. And but I appreciated the fact that this man did not get away with the fact that you slept with your biological child. So yeah, you're gonna wear that incest. Because like I said, there's ones that come in the courtroom and they get charged with statutory rape, but they get charged with different types of rape. And they'll build it up and the judges handle it. But and they do an excellent job at it. But when, like I said, you raped your that goes to show you raped your biological child, and they were doing it for a time. So, right, this is a battle that is already an issue that people have been trying to fight, just like Sound of Freedom that we just seen. So these kids are getting trafficked over the border, but now they, like I say, and you know what? I'm almost starting to think, like I say, despite the fact that you know. Like I say, it's a big thing. They're broadcasting it or what have you. But I almost think it's a sort of distraction as well. They're doing a whole bunch of just. It's right now. Ever since this election came in, it's been a dang on firework of distractions, of nonsense, a whole bunch of nonsense pulled together. Our minds, we can't focus on this, and that, and they act like they're gonna have us scared. And we shall not fear, y'all. We gotta be strong.
And them valid points, I ain't gonna lie to you. You was saying some stuff about men and what they do. I ain't gonna lie, bro. That's valid, bro. And that's part of the reason why we have a big influx of men falling back from women. I also heard earlier on this panel somebody say that women aren't protected by their own men, especially the black women. That's part of the reason we hear a lot
At
of the
all.
negative. Now, this
At
is another
all.
thing though. I also heard that negative thing about men, right? I don't ever hear women, and I went to a funeral where I was talking to my family about how I met my daughter's mama, right? Say, boy, shorty, my daughter mama punched me in my mouth and dug in my jeans. You get it? Say, shorty. And do you not know that every woman in my family laughed at me, bro? I didn't hit her back because I was scared. And it wasn't that I was scared of her. You get it? I wasn't scared of her, bro.
You was scared of what
She
you
hit
was
me in
gonna
my
do.
mouth. Nigga. All I could do was lay back on the rock and let her go in my pants and do what she did. Feel me? We don't talk about them little horny girls that be playing house. Y'all said it yourself, playing house. Say, man, when I say I woke up in the middle of the night at one of my step auntie's house, now I'm talking about cousin and her god sister from next door humping me, talking about they practicing. As a youngster, what you practicing, nigga? I didn't even know what she was talking about. Practicing what? Nigga, on my daughter, I didn't know what she was talking about. Get it? But we hear all of these bad things about men, but we never talk about the bad things, the pros and cons with our daughters or the nieces or stuff like that, or auntie them. Like I say, it was a time when I was young dancing. I got auntie looking at my private area, jumping in my shorts. I know because I heard her talking to my mama, shorty.
And we respect men getting raped too, yeah, because we can't stand that either. We know that young boys is getting raped by women, they getting raped by other weird men. So we respect that. Yeah, that's we
Ma'am,
not gonna act
ma'am,
like
you
that
gotta
doesn't
say the
happen
R,
either. Rape
ma'am,
is
you gotta
rape.
say the R
Rape is
word.
rape. Child molestation is
Ma'am,
child
ma'am,
molestation.
ma'am, gotta say the R word.
Y'all gonna get us flagged.
Yeah, you say it with a G,
No,
I
just
got
say the
y'all.
R word. Just say the
like
R
a
word.
fruit. Don't say it with the R. YouTube is real
All right,
fickle on
moving
that.
forward. Go ahead with your point, ma'am.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, it's respected all across the board. Yeah, because like I say, no matter who does it, yeah, we've seen, teachers, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, we see these people attacking these kids at different, I mean, just all different type of scenarios. So yeah, it's respected, and it's fought for regardless. I can't stand it either which way it flies. And trust me, oh, I see it. Oh, I see the grooming. I see, other women trying to act like they're attracted to children. And also, y'all, I also wanted to say, because everybody was having such a good conversation, but see, Germany has legalized it. Okay, so that's where United States and everybody else want to get up in the game and play. See, that's why they want to play with this channel as well. Because, like I say, it's a plethora of information out here. Oh, but Germany, because that's where Tom Hanks fled to when Biden came in and before he came in, because he was afraid that Trump was about to get in there, and that was a big old discussion. I was on kind of podcast about that. So Germany has legalized it for
If y'all
children.
Yeah. Is it
if
safe
y'all
to say
want up
that we
on
need to
what's going
protect all
on,
children as a whole?
if
All
y'all
children
up
of
on what's
any race.
going on with Tom Hanks, I hope y'all was following his social media. It was some weird stuff going on with Tom Hanks, man. Listen. I don't know what's going on, but something going on. King, talk to us. You just joined the panel. King, you
Oh,
there?
and let me get out, Angela. If I lived in Fulton County and could have voted for you in Atlanta when you ran, I would have voted for you.
Well, that's what. It's not too late. You can go ahead and donate to the $ AKF
I did
2023
that when she
and
was
bring
on
to
Tommy
Angie's house.
Sotomayor's show towards her campaign.
We always looking for donations. Are you signed up for $5 a
Okay,
month?
hold on now. Hold on. I'm letting you know what I already did.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I
I'm
appreciate
I'm
all the
I'm I'm,
support.
I'm talking to
King, you
her.
out there? Talk
I
to us.
can't just make that up
You
and
there?
pull that out. Say I remember you was on Tommy Sotomayor's show, and all the donations that were received
About
that
my
night from that show was
Okay.
supposed to go to her campaign. Yes, I donated to that.
Okay. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. I
Yeah.
appreciate it, y'all. Auntie Angie's house. We are
I mean,
still
it come to that. I just still I don't play with it. I ain't new to it. I'm
talk
true
to us.
to it.
Where you at, King? Talk to us. You there? King, you just
His
joined
mic
us?
must be
Hello,
muted.
hello.
Talk to us.
Hello.
Yeah, we hear
Hey,
you.
how y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Uh, well, I was a trans woman for 11 years of my life. I transitioned at the age of 21. I detransitioned at almost 31. I'm pushing 37 this year. Um, Mine's all started from like the lady was talking about kids being molested. I was molested by a female first, and
You
then I
got to
was
say the
molested by
M
a
word.
male.
M word.
Hello?
Sorry. Just the M
And I
word.
was molested by a male. So through my life, I was trying to figure out who I was, sexuality wise, all that. I just tried to figure it out. So I transitioned. I don't agree with anything when it comes down to how the trans women or the trans men handle the heterosexual community, especially the black community. It's just weird because when I transitioned, it was a black woman, a black sister who heard my story, who listened to me, who helped me transition, who then judged me. She said, "Okay, let me take your hand and let me help you." And she helped me. She guided me through the way. I did. I got my name changed. I had got big old breasts, passable. Everything was changed legally. I was finna get a sex change. Everything was on the right path. But then I detransitioned because I didn't feel right no more. My mental health got at stake. I was just going through a lot, so I knew the transition played a part of that. I knew everything else I was going through played a part of that. Trans women will never be a woman. I said it because when I was a trans, I always had said that I can't be my mama. I can't be my grandma. I can't be my auntie. I can't be my niece nor my sister. I was a trans woman. Well, I was a black trans woman. When I walked them streets, I represent black trans women. I didn't represent women because I didn't understand no woman's story. All I understood was a trans woman journey, not no woman journey. And a lot of trans women need to understand that we can't take women's journeys. That's something that trans women have struggled with, especially black trans women, always trying to take a woman's journey. You can't take that woman's journey. That's like a slap in your mama face. So I'm gonna slap my mama because I choose to live my life the way I choose and disrespect her because society and then the government want me to disrespect my mama. Oh nah, we ain't gonna do that. So there's a lot that needs to be addressed in both on both sides. I understand that trans women, I hear them. I hear the trans men, I hear it all. But T.S. Madison, see, T.S. Madison is another one that's became too much for Hollywood because of before T.S. Madison and I agree with children transitioning at all. There's many videos of T.S. Madison state that trans children should not even transition. But then when she became Hollywood, the Wayne Wade child became this big old advocate for her. Oh, children's a transition. No, children need to be children. They don't need to be taught anything about anything sexual about no man, no woman, no birds and the bees. Let these kids be kids. Let them enjoy themselves. Let no drag shows. I didn't go to drag shows as no child. I wasn't worried about none of that stuff. I was worried about growing up. When I was molested, that's when my mind got twisted.
Well, is it safe to say that you transitioned for all the wrong reasons? It wasn't because you were trans?
No, I didn't transition for all the wrong reason because at the end of the day, when I was started at 9 years old, I started to want to cut my thing off. So at 9 years old, I already started feeling different. I felt different, but then I couldn't tell nobody at 9 years old. So I transitioned because at the point when I transitioned, I wanted to be a trans woman. So I never did transition for no wrong reason. I
So it
transitioned for
wasn't
my reason.
because of the molestation. It was
It
because
wasn't for the molestation. It wasn't because I still date women. It wasn't for the molestation. The molestation plays a part in a child's mind. You see what I'm saying? When the child get touched and you get violated as a child, it start messing with your mind as a child. No matter who you are as a child, you get touched, you getting disrespected.
let me
That
ask you
starts
this.
messing with your mind as a child. As you start growing up, your mind start wondering.
Let me just ask you this since we're in this moment. In that moment, were you able to tell an adult and did you feel comfortable? Can we go in that space and you kind of take us there?
No, of course, in our community, as soon as we say something, what is it? Disbelief, right? We still trying to work on that. As soon as a child speak out, it's disbelief. But my story is deeper than that. If I would have spoke out, I would have ruined both sides of my family. Let's just say that. I'm gonna leave it as that. So as a child, what do I do? But I ain't gonna have nobody. So what I started trying to commit suicide. It was a list of things that started transpiring through this situation. So when I became 21, I finally realized, okay, you know what? Okay, I'm. This is who I am. I have to accept these things. Let me start my transition because this is something that I held in for so long and I never was able to tell nobody. Then I did it. I did it out the blue. I ain't talked to my mama. I ain't talked to my dad. I ain't talked to nobody. You see what I'm saying? I just transitioned. I talked to one person. She helped me, and it was a heterosexual woman. It wasn't a trans. I couldn't call no trans sisters because you know why? They was against each other.
Yeah.
Let's just discuss that. Trans sisters, black trans sisters don't like each other. They was against each other. They didn't want to help each other. They didn't want to tell you what doctor they went to. They didn't want to tell you nothing to transition. You had to figure it out on your own. If you weren't a part of that clique, then you didn't know you couldn't get a part of nothing.
Let me ask you a question. You have
Yes,
now
ma'am.
you have now decided to detransition, and that's something that's very, very interesting to me, and I'm sure you probably already know why. Why have you decided to detransition? Just help me get a little better understanding of, because a lot of
Um,
people, and I'm just asking this because a lot of people say they go through it and go through the whole transition and they realize that they not really women, or is it health complications, or help me understand why you decided to transition back.
um, after having a discussion with my mom, my dad, I let them know that I feel like I don't value my transition no more. I explained to them that in this lifestyle transition, this is serious, and I explained to both of my parents that this is serious, and I don't feel like I don't have it in me no more to do this. I'm not happy no more, and I told them I got to go back. I had a conversation with God. I prayed. I said, Lord, I got to go back. Rebirth me, God. I got to go back, Lord. And when I went back, you know who judged me the most? My own community, the trans community, dogged me out. I had to get off of Facebook
Ooh.
because they dogged me out so bad. They was in my inbox threatening me. You ain't no trans. You are disappointing to the community. I'm like, hold up. What about the story? I support y'all. Still, I'm fighting for y'all still. One of y'all, two of my trans sisters died. I'll fight for them still if I have to. I go march. I do it all because at first you were black before you anything else. So I'm march because you black. You my sister, my brother, we gonna bleed the same. So it was bothering my mind. Like it started really just hunting me that hey, if I do not detransition, I don't find some peace in myself, I'm gonna kill myself. And I
Hey
told my
man,
mom, my dad, like, I'm gonna kill myself. I say it's nothing, I'm gonna go. I don't want to be a part of this world like this no more. I rather educate people, help both sides get a ground and understanding because we have to get together to figure this out. We have no choice.
I agree.
I
And
tell you, I can relate to you
sorry for
firsthand,
you.
minus trying to do some transitional stuff. I can relate to you. See,
Sorry
and
you had to go through what you went through.
Oh no, baby.
I
God,
cataloged that in the book that I wrote. A book that I wrote when I was 6 years old. I was in the hospital due to cocaine, not cocaine, codeine addiction. When they used to have cough syrup with codeine in it. And that's when it happened to me, right? From one of the people that wore all the white clothes. Had me in such a state of fear, I was too afraid to tell my mama that something had happened to me when I was in the hospital, right? Because they put you in a state of fear, you know. So I dealt with that for the longest time in my life. When I was in the military, and everything came back up and repressed memories, and I got the proper mental health for it. Then that's when I became a well individual. I mean, I became well enough to document it in a book on my life that, was published 10 years ago. And it's people that Oh, so you would? Oh, you did.
I just want to say I appreciate you coming on the panel and sharing your story, and it's just very important for us to understand that we all go through. And just like Lennon was saying, he can relate to you. I can relate to you as well. And I just really thank God for you going back and waking up and sparing your life, man, and coming to that realization of finding your true self and whatever you need to do to make yourself better. I'm glad you still here, that you didn't take yourself out. I know your mother and father are as well. And it's just a blessing to see you come back, to turn your life
Yes,
around. You
ma'am.
know what I'm saying? That's a blessing. So my prayers are up for you. I want you to continue your journey. I thank you for joining the panel tonight. Y'all, I'm going to close the panel out on that. I think that was a powerful story. I mean, he said it all. A trans woman, you can't be a woman. And the most valid point was, I can't be my mama. I can't be my sister. I can't be my niece. Like, don't get so caught up in the movement that you forget who you really are. You forget the people that love you. You forget your mama, your granny, the people that helped raise you. Like, come on, y'all. Let's get back to common
Yes,
sense.
Before
Make
that's
we
sure
true
take
now.
everybody
out,
that donated to Auntie Angie's too. I appreciate it if you did. Y'all, we gonna come back again. Good night, y'all.
Good night. Thank you.
All right.
Y'all don't make mistakes.
Good night.